What's up everybody, it's the 12 here. So you guys really did seem to enjoy the last video I put out where I taught the top 5 strongest characters in Store 4, or who I thought was the top 5 strongest characters. But with there being the best, there is also the worst. A lot of you guys wanted me to do the worst characters in the entire game, and that's actually way harder than you think because I don't like calling anyone in this game just straight up garbage. And there's not really like a lot of bad characters in this game, so finding the worst characters or the top 5 worst characters is actually going to be a lot harder than finding the top 10 best characters. But I practiced with these 5 characters and I'm pretty confident with my answer, as these are being the worst Storm 4 characters in the game. And right before we start off the video, there's one thing I want to mention about the last video. It's the honorable mentions part. So I actually wanted to keep the honorable mentions pretty small, only like around 5 to 7 characters. But in my last video for the top 5 best characters in Storm 4, there were actually a lot of characters that were in the honorable mentions originally, but I wanted to scrap out the ones that didn't really need much saying, and I wanted to keep in the ones that I really felt were impactful. And that's the same thing I'm gonna do right here as well. I'm gonna just keep the honorable mentions short, because if I were to, it would be probably 20 characters in the honorable mentions part. But that's all I wanted to say. Without further ado, let's get started.
Where did you?
So just like the previous video, we are going to go through all the honorable mentions I have for being close to the top 5 worst characters. These were ones I considered, but I decided not to put them up here. Kid Obito, Jiraiya, Rin, Konohamaru, Hidan, the 3rd Raikage, the 2nd Mizukage, Chiyo, PTS Ino, and the last character is Han. So these are all the characters that were considered for the top worst characters, but I decided not to put them up here, and I got way worse characters. So let's go on to our number 5 spot. Coming up at our number 5, we have Toby. So this was a character I did put up originally a bit higher, but then I realized he does have some pretty practical uses, which is why he's not up too high on this list. He's actually our bottom for the number 5 spot. The main reason why Toby is mostly up here is because he lacks a couple of things that makes him a good character. Or not even a good character, but an average character. So one thing is that his combos are very long range, or not really long range. The combos are very big and wide, but they're kind of slow. Like, because Toby's supposed to be a gag character, so all his stuff is kind of funny, but all of his combos on the ground at least can literally be outsped by a lot of average people, and he may outrange them, but that doesn't really matter when you can just get out prioritized by a lot of people, especially those who aren't like high tier. The next thing is, like, he doesn't really have any guard pressure at all. It's kind of just bad. And then his tilt is not what I would call good. It's just like kind of average. Kind of leaves him wide open. He throws bombs, and they do go into a strike back, but other than that, that's all he really has. His tilt is not really utilized like that too much. His grab is actually one of the best things about Toby. So it actually gives him, he actually goes underground, and it kind of gives him low-key invulnerability, and you just kind of grab them. And the weird thing is, like, whenever, like, he's literally underground, so you kind of can't hit him. Like, he's kind of invincible for like 2 seconds. Now, of course, if you do the full grab, it leaves him wide open. But you can switch to another character and kind of just like cancel out your lag, which is super good. And then the best thing about Toby is his support slash jutsu. So this support pretty much put bombs under you, and it pretty much just it's very good for a lot of setups, and that's really why Toby is used a lot. And that's really why he's not too far up on this list. But really, Toby lacks range, guard pressure, and also this is the biggest thing. He doesn't even have an ultimate jutsu cancel. At least I haven't found one. If he does have an ultimate jutsu cancel, I don't know about it. He wouldn't probably be on this list. He'd probably be an honorable mention. But he doesn't have an ultimate jutsu cancel, and that is something that almost every single character has, and he doesn't. which is a big nerf on the person that's playing him. And the last thing we can talk about Toby is his awakening. His awakening is actually really good. It's actually one of the more creative awakenings in the game. You can actually get some serious damage off with this. And this is why I really debated to put Toby in an honorable mention, but he really just lacks a couple of stuff that normal characters have that he has as well, that he doesn't have. Coming up at our number 4 spot, we have PTS Choji. So the main reason I put PTS Choji up here is because of one basic thing, and that he's just too slow. I think this is obviously the slowest character in the entire game. His combo speed is just so lacking, and he can literally just be beaten by almost everybody in the entire game. He has no range, and his combos are super slow. Like he fights like he's a sumo wrestler. Like, what is this? But that's kind of the only reason why Choji is up here at our number 4 spot. And if it was more than that, I would put him higher on this list. But Choji actually has some pretty good stuff. So the first thing I found out about Choji is that he actually has an infinite combo in the middle of his combo. I think it's like the 5th hit or the 4th hit or something like that. And because of that, you can actually combo up into a jutsu and get like probably 70% of green bar, which is pretty freaking good. And he has like his own attack pill, so theoretically you can actually cancel to your attack pill to increase your damage even further. And even if you don't do the infinite combo, his combos overall do a lot of damage. His tilt is actually really good for getting in or getting one of your teammates in and then switching out. But besides his grab, there's really not too much that's really bad about Choji besides of his range and the attack speed of his stuff. He actually has one thing that a lot of characters don't have, and that's just pure power. Coming up at our number 3 spot, we have PTS Kiba. So let's go through all of Kiba's stuff really quick. So Kiba actually has some pretty darn good, not good combos, don't get me wrong. His range is okay, his damage is okay, his jutsu is okay, his tilt is okay. So what's the big deal about Kiba? Why is he in the 3rd worst character spot? It's because this goes for Shippuden Kiba as well. When I make this thing, Kiba has this gimmick where if he gets hit, if Akamaru gets hit, he cannot attack. Kind of very similar to a puppet master, where if the puppet gets hit, the puppet master literally cannot do anything but just run away. So this is really bad for Kiba, both Kibas actually, because they're close range characters. So if a Shuriken hits Akamaru, he's down the ground for about 2 seconds, and you cannot attack for 2 whole seconds, or about 2 whole seconds. And that's pretty darn bad. It forces you to switch out. So if I was playing this character solo, I would be nerfing myself so bad. So I guess, another reason, another thing you can say is, why isn't Shippuden Kiba up here? Because Shippuden Kiba, it's not even that close to being that bad, because he has some workaround with it. First of all, his jutsu is good for keep away, and is overall just a really good support. He has 2 infinite combos and more damage than PTS Kiba in generically in his combos. He has a pretty darn good tilt that has some good range, and his grab is bigger than PTS Kiba. So overall, he's just a better character than PTS Kiba. And PTS Kiba, like I said before, has kind of all okay stuff. So really, the real reason why this character is here is really because of the stupid gimmick, where if Akamaru gets hit, he's down for the count. And you literally have to force yourself to switch out, because at least with puppet masters, you have to stay away. They're kind of mid-range characters or long-range characters. They can be any range, honestly, but close range, you don't want to be there because they have that gimmick. But this character literally has that gimmick, but he has to be close range. So anything can just nick Akamaru and he can't fight. That's kind of the only reason why he's up here in my top 3. Now we can move on to the second character on this list. Now for our second worst character on here, it is PTS Tenten. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree that PTS Tenten should be on this list somewhere, either in the 5 top worst characters or in the honorable mentions. But I'm gonna put her in the second worst character spot. So PTS Tenten, she's low-key a gag character of some sort. So I think she's supposed to be a close but also long-range character or a mid-range character, and she wants to be dealing damage like that. But Pizza Tenten has this weird thing where she doesn't do any damage with her combos. Like one combo does about the damage of an average tilt, and her combos are actually pretty long too, so that means that like you can get your subs pretty fast even if you get, you know, comboed. So that's kind of the only reason why Tenten is up here. It's because she has this gag of effect. I don't know why she specifically has this. Honestly, if this is like, I'm not sure the creators were like making fun of Tenten or they think she's a joke or something, but this kind of just literally makes her one of the worst characters in the game. She can't do any damage in her combos, but there are some workarounds for this character. She does have the most items out of anyone in the game. She has 3 paper bombs, 3 kunai tags, and the other ones are the kunai tags that float in the air. I don't know what those are called, or kunai bags. I don't know what those are called. But those are pretty darn good items, and her jutsu is actually not bad either. It has a lot of hit stun. It can bait out a lot of substitutions, and she has some pretty good setups with her guard pill as well. It's just that whenever she, well, I guess fights, she doesn't do any damage. The most damaging combo she has is her air combo, and this air combo is actually really good for baiting out subs as well. So like she can all those shurikens she's throwing can actually bait out a sub, and they sub in the same place because those are counting as projectiles and not an actual attack. So the reason I put her in the second worst character and not the worst character is because there's some versatility to her. I have gotten wrecked by a PTS Tenten. I have wrecked people with the PTS Tenten, so she has some use. She's pretty darn good supports, and she's very good for baiting out subs. But overall, like she's pretty bad, but you know, you can make it work. Now, here's the big question. I think a lot of people will probably say this is the worst character in the game. So I put her as second worst character. So who's the first? Let's go on and find out. Let's go on to our first, or the worst character I believe in the entire game. And here is the worst character in the game, I believe. It is Shippuden Tenten Shippuden. So I guess let me just kind of go through everything for my reason why she's the worst. So first of all, I see no one playing Shippuden Tenten at all. Like, I don't ever see her playing on the tier list. Even on the official tier list, she's pretty low on the tier list, and I do believe she is the worst long range character. My reason for her being the worst long range character is because none of her long range combos ever connect up. They and even so, they have a lot of spacing between the long range combos, and every single long range character has like this sort of kind of gimmick. So Shino's gimmick is that the bugs follow you. Same with Ukataka's bubbles. Tamari's gimmick is that if you're close range to her, she can kind of just blow you back a little bit whenever she does her long range combo. The second Musakangi's gimmick is that he has a lot of setups, a lot of traps whenever he finishes his long range combos, and as well as Datara, he plays a very aggressive playstyle of long range attacks and also some setups. Tenten really doesn't have any of that. She seems like the most blandest, worthless long range character in the entire game. Her long range, like whenever you're using Tenten, you kind of don't want to use her long range stuff because it kind of doesn't matter. The one that really matters the most is probably her air shuriken combo, and that's probably the best one, but it's so slow you can kind of just double dash out of it. So there are some good stuff with Tenten, some good stuff. So one thing being is her combos. Her combos go instantly into a strike back, and I think that's pretty good for Tenten as well because she needs all she can get. And also her air combo goes to a strike back as well, if you didn't know. But like you know, that's pretty darn unique. But that's not, and like a lot of characters has like those mechanics, so that's not really too special about her. Her tilt is actually kind of worthless. It's literally worthless. She just puts the staff out and she just hits you. Her grab is also kind of unique too. Is she literally like pulls this chain and she pulls it back, or she throws it out and then she pulls it back. And you know, it's cool looking, but it's not like good at all. And the only other thing that's kind of good about Tenten is her jutsu, Ninja Tool Blasting Sphere. This is actually not a bad support, and it can get you out of a jam pretty good, but it's like worse Toby. It's a worse Toby thing, a worse Toby support. So she throws up these bombs, you can cancel it immediately, which you can kind of get some damage on people, but they don't last enough to be real traps. So, but overall, like as support, it's actually not bad. Like it's a pretty okay support to have on Tenten, but that's all you're gonna use her for. Another reason why I think she's the worst character in games is because she doesn't have an ultimate juice to cancel. The only way for her to use her ultimate is to get it off a shred back or get it by luck, which is, it's the same reason as Toby why I think Toby's pretty bad. One of the reasons why I think Toby's pretty bad is because he's lacking something that all characters majority just have, which is an ultimate juicy cancel, and Tenten does not have that, therefore making her, well, kind of bad. And even in her awakening, it's also pretty unique. It's pretty unique. Like her shooting combo spreads out fire. She has 2 left and right triggers, one's water and one's wind, and the wind was pretty fast and it follows you pretty hard. You know, she has a lot of unique stuff, but she can't really get it off because you can kind of just block it or just dodge it. Like that's literally it. So it's kind of worthless. All right, so that is my list for the top 5 worst characters in Storm 4. Now remember, this is completely subjective, just like my last video. It's completely subjective. This is by what I see and what I think that are the best characters and the worst characters. But anyways, make sure to leave your top 5 worst characters down in the comments below, because I really am curious to see if you guys agree with me or you guys think that there's some other worst character in the game. But my name is 12. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.